Hey guys, doing a short live stream. I'm actually going to be leaving pretty soon to get on an airplane and do some traveling, which I think people will be learning more about this week. Um, and I'm not sure how much time I'm going to have to do stuff like this. We'll see. Um, but this trip is very much looking to be work related. So there will be updates. Jump on and just do a little stream on the little bit of window I have here uh, before I take off. Um, as always, of course, I have to say it up front. Please hit me with the super chat. Hey guys, all stuff about sound quality. I'll deal with it when I get back. Relax. If it's too much of an issue, just skip this one. Um, but I'll figure out another arrangement in the future. But I did want to jump on and just go over some of the news of the day. Definitely hit with super chats if you can. Hugely important for because basically what happens is that YouTube just manually reviews everything. If you use Iran in a title, if you basically use anything news related, it's a big, it's a big impediment. So a big part of keeping this working is those super chats. So thank you all. Of course, patreon.com/TMBS. Of course, come see us at the Bell House, February 7th in Brooklyn. Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, hit the bell, tmbs.fm. All right, that's all out of the way. Please, with the super chats. So I just want to say out of the gate that there's obviously thoughts on the current state of the Epstein situation. Well, I mean, I never thought that he killed himself. So this does not surprise me at all that there would be, um, new evidence possibly emerging. I'll loop back up on it. I'll give a shout out to TrueAnon Pod, which I enjoy and is really doing a great job of covering this and connecting it with understanding the intelligence world, finance, people like the Clintons. That's definitely something I'd recommend. Um, Today, and I know there's a lot of drama with this Politico story, which I'll get to in a minute, but Bernie Sanders was endorsed by the SEIU in New Hampshire. That is a major endorsement, and thank you for that, murderous mope. She likes the RTs on Bernie's. She likes the RT on Bernie's response to Trump's tweet. We're going to crush it. I agree. I'll get to that. That was a very BDE tweet from Bernie. But this announcement of the SEIU union in New Hampshire breaking or not following the Nationals' lead and maintaining a stance of neutrality so far and saying, no, look, we obviously have a labor champion in the race. We obviously have somebody who's head and shoulders in every other type of way you can imagine on the core issues to working people in this country, who's assembled a movement which is completely unparalleled. I mean, definitely in modern politics, obviously there was a movement around Obama, but not built on the same policy base. Um, I've been volunteering in Des Moines since May. This document that was leaked is so fake. We've always been told to be positive, stick to policy. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. But and then of course the other thing that maybe you could look to is the amazing Rainbow Coalition, particularly that Jesse Jackson put together in 1988, and of course Bernie Sanders endorsed and supported in 1988, while Elizabeth Warren was a Republican and while Joe Biden was running a right-wing campaign to the White House. Okay, I will accept that. I am dealing with sound next time. So, thank you. Uh, but this endorsement is the news of the day. It's showing that the surge that's happening, the movement around Sanders, the actual proof that an actual working class movement that is actually dedicated to dealing with the stagnation, the inequality, the structural economic violence and abuse of this economy that has been gutting labor for decades. And when you have lower labor density, life expectancy goes down, wages go down. There is no plausible path to any type of basically decent society, from social democratic to democratic socialist, that is not anchored in the raw power of the labor movement. And obviously, there's a huge amount, there's been a lot of compromise in labor. Um, Partially, I mean, for very obvious reasons. There's been a full scale political war in labor in this country ever since it became a force, right? I mean, think of robber barons, the predecessors of you know, of the corporate oligarchs of today, hiring private militaries to attack unions, and also, look at the way in which union power and labor union movements have been even culturally attacked and delegitimized in this society. And Bernie Sanders, along with things, of course, like the teacher strikes and other wild cat actions that have taken place across this country, are exactly what is needed back on, and to really reassert the centrality of labor power and the policy sets that go along with it, like a clear, unambiguous, and absolutely fearless fight to absolutely eliminate the predator parasite insurance industry, and to give every single human being in this country full healthcare coverage, no BS, no nonsense, no garbage, no immorality from Republicans and Democrats, and completely eliminate that grotesque, disgusting, vile private health insurance industry, and be willing to fight every step against all of the propaganda that will come up against, all of the fear mongering, all of the corporate spin, all of the AstroTurf campaigns that are hiring Obama and Clinton alums to try to keep you from having health care, to fighting to shorten your life expectancy so CEOs can stuff their pockets. Ignore the drama, stay the course, we're going to win. Well, look, in general, that's great advice across the board. Way, 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 way too much drama indulgence in general. And that gets back to the importance of doing stuff like reading the Vampire Castle essay by Mark Fisher. But there's a couple of revealing things about today's nonsense and drama. So, one, you have this incredibly dubious political article, and Alex Thompson now is saying he won't reveal his source, and comparing the source apparently to Reality Winner, and this, just completely melodramatic nonsense. And what it looks to be very clearly is that somebody, even volunteering, not necessarily in the campaign or anything, uploaded some document. It was clearly not an official, endorsed document from the campaign. My understanding of people who do a lot of door-to-door work is that type of kind of direct compare and contrast almost never happens. And plenty of people have anecdotally just said, no, the directions when we're going door to door is just keep it positive and talk about all that Sanders is offering America. Here's a couple bucks to get those posters behind you framed. We'll see. It's a busy schedule, guys. Uh, so that being said, what is hysterical is that all of this drama and all of this nonsense, like if there was a fake document, which this looks to be, or even, I mean, obviously a real document, how about an impression of Angela Merkel asking people to get excited about double selfies? Oh my God. Yo, Angela Merkel is so. I can't even. Angela Merkel, I obviously disagree with her politics, but she's such a formidable leader. I can't even. It's like, and we're really doing something powerful for the European Union because when you think about it, the selfie line is the ultimate democracy. Yeah, came out that said, question why Elizabeth Warren identified as a Native American for decades when she's not. Right? Okay, that would be. I mean, look, it's going to come up in a general election if somehow she gets the nomination, and the idea that we can't critically assess it has definitely been a kind of police boundary. Would you consider having on Eli Pepe Yes, email guest suggestions to mjbrooks at protonmail.com. But, all this was, though, was essentially if somebody brought up Warren, you said she's my second choice, and I like her. And my concern is that she has an extremely narrow and overly affluent coalition, which is empirically true. All the evidence I've seen, her coalition skews white, upper middle class, and professional class. So, about a modest criticism on something that is absolutely empirically valid. How our school system teaches our youth about the Gilded Age is such a travesty. By not learning about our history, we're condemned to repeat it. Hope you're doing well. Left is best. I hope you're doing well, and I agree with you. And thank you, Monica. A big part of this show is we got to be serious about history. We've got to contextualize how we think about every issue as best as possible. Um, so you have this three-step process where first, this story is almost certainly bullshit. The Sanders campaign should have been much faster and clearer on this, but we have this apparently looks to be kind of garbage story from Politico. That's my impression at this point. But it actually is extraordinarily mild. It's a friendly criticism that is based off of a lot of readily available data, and of course is totally relevant to the obvious and major concerns. I mean, look, I'll be blunt. I don't picture. I cannot see Elizabeth Warren defeating Donald Trump, and of course, I'm actually somebody who takes this extraordinarily seriously. We do need to beat Donald Trump 1000%. So I don't, and I don't see Elizabeth Warren doing it. I don't see the appeal geographically. I don't see the broad based coalition of Sanders. I don't see the grassroots funding. I don't see the comprehensiveness and clarity of agenda. I don't see the unique credibility and track record and so on and so forth, right? Questions that if you're serious about Warren campaign, and again, when when you go into a general and you're not sort of, you know, trying to kind of police a debate in a way on the left or with liberals, this stuff is going to blow wide open, including other things that we won't, like the Native American thing, which we won't talk about, right? Obviously, Trump will talk about all the time, and he'll be a complete, absolute asshole about it. But it's certainly not going to resonate for some people, and it really, that's again, this is just like in terms of objective reality, which at some point we have to talk about. So, then that's one is that this is not a sound story. It seems to me. Then it's an incredibly modest, chill, mild criticism of a serious area of concern. Warren has taken this as an opportunity with her campaign to actually hit Sanders pretty hard. When she talked about 2016, that really underplays the fact that Bernie Sanders worked his ass off to get Hillary Clinton elected president. And of course, the endless lying and whining and relentless disingenuity and dishonesty of the Clinton people about that is belied by dozens of campaign appearances that Sanders made. At key moments during the primary, he chose to not hit Clinton when, if you were running a campaign to win, you absolutely would. Been one of the main areas of spin and lies against Bernie Sanders and his supporters. First time giving super chat to anyone, Larry Cherry Pop. Well, thank you, Pamela. Honored, very honored by that. Really, thank you so much. That's very generous and is definitely a huge help. So revealing, right? We have like a three-step process where the story itself probably bullshit. Then we have what's actually in it is nothing. The only other campaign I've seen so mild is the is how gently Sanders ran against Clinton, and then third, Warren takes it as an opportunity to actually attack Sanders and in a way that is dishonest. Warren's looking for a cause Bella to attack Sanders because the party elite is pushing her toward it, and it gets their support from them. I think that's totally true. A few days ago, I asked about the Prius Core, and you had a really great take on its history and value. I'd like to hear you, Nathan Robinson, one on one. Oh, that's a good idea. And Nathan and Robinson and I did a really great illicit history of the ever odious and disgusting Charles Murray, which people should check out. Co I think the Sanders campaign, I would like to have seen the comms be much more clear and much more aggressive out of the gate. They got to be really on point right now because obviously the knives are out because they're surging and they're incredibly well played combination. And don't even forget about the full on oligarch, ruling class war against him when it's against Trump. And I'll get to Bloomberg in a second, but I'm definitely not taking Mike Bloomberg's word for it about Bernie Sanders. I'm sorry, right? I'm not taking his word for it. I absolutely don't trust Mike Bloomberg. But this process has been very revealing, right? Okay. Again, Sanders' campaign needs to be much tighter in terms of clarifying it. But then look at the other three steps. Super questionable story. Warren campaign and Elizabeth Warren herself doesn't say, well, I'm not sure about that story, and do what Bernie always does, which is reiterate their friendship and so on. She didn't do that. She took it as an opportunity to say, it's disappointing. They're trashing me. He knows me. And then actually repeat a totally dishonest, disingenuous allusion to 2016. So I hope the Sanders campaign, and of course, has been real for a long time. I've never bought, this mythology that the Warren campaign isn't running a campaign against Sanders. And by the way, that's fine. You're supposed to run campaigns against each other. It's just that in Sanders' case, there's this massive, bizarre expectation, including a lot among some people that support him, that he will not, hit back or articulate his differences, which is insane. Politico's backing Warren right now. It's disgusting how they've manufactured all of this. Well, they've definitely manufactured all of this. And then, of course, what's hilarious is that literally what has been, what seems to have been manufactured is this nothing. It's this memo that critiques her on things that anybody with any kind of functioning political capacity would see as big concerns. And they have used this as an opportunity to actually try to disingenuously smear Bernie. So I hope people, again, can get real about the dynamics here. They're running against each other. And look, again, I'm sorry. I know people don't like this. I've said this from the very beginning. Bernie Sanders was Warren to run. She didn't want to take that risk against the Clinton machine. Bernie Sanders stepped up and ran a campaign that reset the political parameters of the Democratic Party and generated opportunity and an enlarging of political imagination and spoke to the real lived material conditions of millions of people. 2020, he's the national leader of progressive politics. He's the one with the movement. He's the one with completely unparalleled decades of including, of course, Warren can even touch. Mindset of this is a movement, this is unity. She's sitting there, she's going, Bernie, you're going to run. You're going to run. What can we do? What is the boy? My incredible skill set and talents. She didn't, and again, that's fine. At the end of the day, a lot of this all has to do with ego and ambition and competition, and that's part of the game. But for a second, fuck around, from the Sanders perspective, right? Like this idea that Bernie Sanders has to, tiptoe around and not differentiate, and that his supporters, are obligated to not clearly differentiate is it's just dishonest and utterly delusional. I would faint laughing if you did an impression of Nation of Islam Obama to tell you to improve your YouTube stream setup. I'm so bored with all the bitching about the sound. I'll take care of it. But you gave me a super chat donation, so let me do this. Jesus Christ, what's wrong with everybody's hearing? Stay focused on the content for once. Um, Michael, really appreciate your hard work. Your voice is very important in this climate of corporate BS that's forced on us every day. Seth, I am so honored by that. Guys, I will look into the mic situation when I get back. I wanted to jump on this stuff today because I think it's super important. Please stay focused for the main story of the day, which is that Bernie Sanders was endorsed by the New Hampshire SEIU. That's the biggest thing. Everything else is very revealing about the game that the Warren campaign is playing. But that's a sideshow. And we need to push back the sideshow and stay focused on the big picture, which is electing Bernie Sanders president and stopping into barbarism. I'm traveling, guys, this week. You'll know more about it soon. Patreon.com/TMBS. Hit like, hit the bell. Thank you so, so, so much for all of the super chats. There's an anti-war protest against Abe in Japan. I will mug up on it when I get back, along with the sound system. It's a pretty big week for me. Um, about soon. Peace and love. Left is best. I really appreciate all of you. I'll see you soon.